Well, how you doing out there, YouTube? What is going on? Welcome to the latest episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. As always, a quick thank you for taking some time out of your day to check out the new video and for being the best damn community here on YouTube, without a doubt. Also want to wish you a blessed Easter Sunday if you're celebrating the day. But anyway, all stackers hope our silver and gold will go up in value as we grow older. And the last 12 months or so have been incredible for gold, as you well know. And even silver has had its nice little increase as well, going from the low 20s in early 2024 all the way to $32 plus as of the date of today's video. And it's pretty much held over the $30 threshold as well. So there are signs of life for silver. But if we listen to the pumpers and the shills, we'll hear that silver is going to blow up and it's going to make us all rich soon. Very soon.
I think silver is going to skyrocket. In my speech, I suggested that Michael Oliver, who writes the Momentum Structural Analysis, I think his ultimate target's 250 on silver.
250?
250, yeah. And I believe it. And there was another gentleman, Don Durrett, who analyzes small cap mining companies, and his target was 500.
Ah, good old Sprott, forever the salesman, huh? Just don't hold your breath, right? Look, silver is what it is, a cool, affordable, precious metal that most walks of life can get into, and maybe when we're all ready to retire, it'll give us a little something back. But we can't depend on it as a complete means to retirement. We've got to diversify, with metals being a much smaller piece of the retirement pie. Anyway, back to the price. A few quote-unquote experts are calling for silver to potentially hit $50 this year. And judging by that clip I just played for you, some are thinking stratosphere. Now, me personally, I don't see it. I think we'll see a high somewhere in the late 30s at best. But what do I know, right? We can't predict this stuff. We just can't. But all that aside, let's take a look at three drivers that could actually drive the price up. Maybe not necessarily to $50, but definitely up in 2025. Let's roll it. So if silver were to hit $50 an ounce this year, it would likely indicate a period of heightened economic turmoil, higher inflation, or geopolitical instability. And we're pretty much experiencing all of this already. But the price could also be driven by factors like industrial demand and supply constraints, since we're aware that silver's been operating at a physical deficit for 5 straight years now. But hang on. That doesn't mean silver's running out. I'm not saying that. It just means that above ground / mined silver isn't meeting current demands and more needs to be brought up. Another thing to keep in mind is this. With everything else in the world getting more expensive, remember that gold and silver miners could have substantial cost increases as well for all the labor of getting that stuff out of the ground, and that could push prices up even more. And when it's all said and done, rising silver price could also signal investor sentiment when we have a struggling economy that drives people toward gold and silver. But with silver being cheaper, especially nowadays, it could be a preferred choice. A lot of stackers will tell you they've been pushed out of gold due to the current price. All right, let's take a quick closer look at the three major factors that could have a say in silver price for 2025. First one's going to be geopolitical instability. Major global events can cause investors to flock to precious metals. Gold is typically the bigger hedge, but silver could also reap the benefits as well. And with everything going on in the world today, with conflicts, tariffs, and whatever else the governments of the world want to throw at us, precious metals will always be a safe haven for investors when they pull out of the markets. Next one is going to be investor sentiment. This is driven by investors looking for a safe haven, just as they would with geopolitical instability. When the markets are down, gold and silver prices go up as more investors pull their money from the markets and put it into metals. Again, gold is the preferred metal in these cases, but when gold goes up, silver tends to follow, albeit slowly, but it does tend to move symbiotically with gold price. And again, inflation is an issue to keep an eye on as well. And lastly, supply constraints. Remember in my last video, we talked about silver not having many dedicated mines, and that it's mined as a byproduct of most zinc and copper mines. And we've been operating at a silver deficit in ounces for 5 straight years. At some point, this could be a factor if output isn't increased. And we can also throw in silver price manipulation here as well. One of the things holding price for silver is paper silver, or silver ETFs. And it's alleged that there are approximately 400 paper ounces, 400 ETFs to each physical ounce of silver out there. And we all know what would happen if investors tried to cash in their electronic silver for physical ounces, right? Yeah, you guessed it. They're not getting a single ounce of real silver. They'll be paid with a sinking U.S. dollar.
Emotional damage.
So those are three factors that could affect silver price in 2025. Now, did you notice anything they all had in common? Yeah, they were all negative scenarios. War, tariffs, poor economy, rising cost of living, rising cost of mining metals, and so much more. If silver price were to actually hit $50 in 2025, again, I'm not saying it will, nor do I believe it will, but if it did, then the economy would likely be in dire straits. We're talking about what? A 30% increase for silver right off the top of my head? If it hits 50? And if it does, can you only imagine what gold would do? Now, if stackers are on the fence now about gold, they'll definitely be out of the running for gold buying if this scenario ever comes to fruition.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
All right, we're getting ready to close this video out, but before I do, I'd like to go over how things could go down, hypothetically, of course, but based on 1980 and 2011, if silver were to hit $50 an ounce. Here are four scenarios that could play out. First one, coin shops would be absolutely overwhelmed. Seriously. Some short-term stackers would sell it all, and some mid-term stackers would sell to take some profit. Grandma would be in line with all of her sterling silver and tea sets, which would have to be verified. All that good stuff. Large collections would have to be verified. It would be absolute chaos. Next, just because it hits $50 doesn't mean you're going to get $50. Because at that price point, it's highly likely that shops will buy well back of spot, especially as they fill up their safes with everyone's silver that they've bought. And as they buy even more stuff, they're going to be less inclined to pay much for everything after the initial onslaught for two reasons. Number one, they don't want to be overloaded. Number two, there's always a fear that silver will do what silver always does, and that's take a major dip, especially from $50. It's a risk. Now, all that being said, it might not be entirely too easy to sell your silver. Next one, taxes. Oh, taxes. Uncle Sam's going to want a piece of your sale, and if you go over 10K, coin shops are obligated to report it. And don't think you can get $9,999 one day, then the next day, same thing, etc., etc. Because if you're making those deposits into the bank, they're going to see the pattern and report the deposits as structuring. It's what we call structuring to the IRS. They'll see the pattern and they'll report it. Now, cash is probably the best way to collect on your sales, but you're going to have the added responsibility of keeping it somewhere if you're keeping your earnings out of the system. And you better hope we're not in the age of digital currency when you do decide to sell, because that's going to put a kibosh on everything. And lastly, if silver were to hit $50, it could mean worst case scenario, and that's the U.S. economy has absolutely tanked. We hope we don't get there. All right. There you have it, folks. So do you think silver will hit $50 in 2025 or in our lifetimes? I realized they were those scenarios I gave you were mostly negative connotations with the ones I listed, but in a perfect world, our silver will just continue to plug along and be worth a little more than what we paid into it. The dollar's not going to tank in our lifetimes. I don't believe it will. But silver needs to just grow organically to $50 an ounce. In that case, $50 silver could be a great thing, but as we know, the world isn't perfect, and we need to be ready for anything and everything. Anyway, be sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are. You guys know I love going through the comments, so make sure you sound off. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. If you made it this far, well, kudos to you. I'll definitely catch up with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, you know what's up.
What do you want to do with your life?
I want to stack.
Damn right. Get stacked. Stay safe and be well, everyone. Be sure to catch me and my silver journey next Wednesday at 8:30 for Stacker's Corner. We'll be on his channel. We alternate every week. But until then, I am out of here. Peace, folks. Have a blessed Easter and a great week ahead. See you on Wednesday.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.